Hello, and thanks for dropping in and joining us for the show. Join us with Jessie Wilson today. Jess, appreciate you coming on. How you doing?
Thanks so much. I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you here.
Yes.
Jessie is a musician and a school teacher. There's a movie that comes to mind. I can't remember what it was, but
a movie. What, a movie and a school teacher?
Yeah, School of Rock. It was a
cinematic
joke.
Black. Jack
That's
Black.
the one, yes. Which I have yet to see, actually. So, Jessie, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where were you born?
I was born in Columbus and raised in Phoenix City. My whole life been here. So,
what did your parents do?
my mom was in banking and my dad built things, was a carpenter. So
cool. Were either of them musical at all or school teachers?
Neither one of them, actually. I'm like the little oddball in my family. My uncle and granddad did a little bit of piano and guitar and stuff, but they weren't, I don't think, as much into it as I am. So,
did they influence you?
Yeah, I mean, because I remember being at family functions when I was little and them playing accordion or doing something goofy, and I was like, music seems fun, so it kind of got me wanting to do it myself.
That's cool. What kind of music did you grow up listening to?
Pretty much everything. My dad is hardcore country guy, so I enjoy old country, but when I started growing up, I branched out and I listened to pretty much everything: pop, country, rock.
Cool.
A little bit of everything.
Now, what was the deciding factor that made you decide that you would like to do music?
Well, in high school I was a cheerleader and I wasn't too much into it, and then my junior year, I had gotten a guitar in my 9th grade year and never picked it up. My junior year, I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to learn from YouTube. And so I'd come home every day after school and learn, and taught myself that way. And I wanted to play at church big time, so I learned. And then they threw me up at church,
Nice.
one of the biggest churches in Phoenix City, Golden Acres. And so I started there, and that kind of...
And you know, that's actually one of my questions, and it's really been a question for a lot of our guests. Did you find that your first, like when you're cutting your teeth in music, that church was a natural progression to go into what you're doing now?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of funny. I didn't really think that I was talented until I got saved. I feel like God kind of blessed me with this gift. I could always kind of sing, but it was really when I got saved at 15 that kind of lit that fire in me to want to sing and use my gifts for Him. So I started strictly church for a long, long time, and then I realized I wanted to write about things other than God, and that was okay, to write about life and relationships, and so it kind of branched me out of just worship and into other things. So I'm thankful for that.
For the record, there is a tutorial for everything on YouTube.
Yes.
I don't know where you're going with this.
Nowhere in particular. It just dawned on me when she said that. I was like, you can learn to play any song from YouTube, which is awesome.
Yes.
It was not around when I was young. Now, so what made you start writing? That's because some people, just continue to play covers forever.
Yeah. I don't know. I've always, I loved English in school, and I loved writing and journalism and things like that. So, loved poetry. So I was like, you know what, why don't I put that with this gift of playing guitar? And I remember I wrote my first song in 5 minutes, pieced it all together, and that's the song Just in Time that I wrote when I was 17, and that's on YouTube. And I'm sorry, not YouTube, it's on iTunes, and that was on my first EP. So it just kind of happened. It was something I never really had to try hard to do. It was just like a natural gift, and I kind of started that way, I guess.
That's cool. Now, are there any of the songs that you wrote when you first started writing that you still do today?
I do Just in Time because a lot of people know that song and request it, but that's pretty much the song from the beginning that's made it.
Now, on your other field, what made you decide that you wanted to be a school teacher?
So I feel like when you're 18, everybody's standing at the edge of a cliff, and you feel like, I have to jump, but I don't know where to go. And so my sister was a teacher, and I was like, I'll try it out. And I went to college at CSU, and I remember the professors were, just saying that I had a gift with children, and that's the only job I ever had was tutoring and always babysitting. So I was like, well, let's try that as my plan B, because I wanted to move to Nashville and do the whole music thing. And so I was like, well, I need some kind of stability or plan B. And I wound up getting in school for it, and I loved it. And I enjoy it now. This is my year 3, so.
Cool. Jessie said, "I'll just stay right here."
And that gift with children comes in handy when you play at bars of some type. So.
There are.
I worked in those, so I know what kind of people are going around.
Yeah. Now, how has your writing evolved since you first started writing?
I don't. It's kind of different. I don't try and write songs in 5 minutes anymore. I find myself writing a verse and then weeks later hearing the melody to the chorus for it, and it's kind of different every time. Sometimes I hear the song or the melody and the music behind it and then go from that, and sometimes I just get words and then put the music behind it on my guitar, so it kind of varies for each song.
That's cool. How is it juggling the rock and roll and the teaching? 'Cause those are very different.
It's a very busy lifestyle. I sometimes feel like Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus. Like I have 2 different sides of me, but it's all me. And so it's a busy life, but I wouldn't trade it because both of them make me to be the content person that I am. So I think it fills both voids, and I get the therapy with the children and then the therapy with music, and it's a hard juggling act, that's for sure, but I really wouldn't have it any other way.
Right. Now, you teach small children?
Yes, 1st grade at Double Churches Elementary here in Columbus.
That has to be a workout on a daily basis.
It is it's a workout, but it is a hoot. Things that children say and
I
do.
can imagine.
It kind of trips me out. I was actually kind of kidding with Jessie before we started the broadcast, and I said, this is pretty much what she'll see at night, but during the day, this is her actual classroom, ladies and gentlemen. But and I had told Brian too. I remember growing up, I never got the really nice-looking, cool teacher that played guitar. All my teachers were like about 300 years old, looked like Methuselah, and beat you with a shoe. I remember that.
Yeah. What's that about? Oh, man. Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go into a commercial, and we'll come back and hear Jessie play a little music.
Come join us every week for Open Mic Thursdays at Fountain City Coffee with your host, Brian Mallard. Registration begins at 6:30. Show runs from 7 to 10. Uptown Columbus, where the vibe is. Timeless beauty at the Gypsy Cherub, 3760 Woodruff Road, Columbus, Georgia. Class is back in style.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
This song that I'm going to do today is called I Knew. It's one of my original songs. So I knew about you before you even knew you. I knew about you before you even knew you. No, I knew about you before you even knew you. I knew about you, boy. The smell of your skin inviting to every vulture in this desert. The sound of your lies, deafening, makes a deaf man turn his ear. 'Cause I knew about you before you even knew you. I knew about you before you even knew you. No, no, I knew about you before you even knew you. I knew about you, boy. Deceit is only tasteful for so long, till you're left with bitterness. The same mouth that promised heaven and hell. Boy, I wish you well, 'cause I knew about you before you even knew you. I knew about you before you even knew you. No, no, I knew about you before you even knew you. I knew about you, boy. You can only fool yourself for so long. Baby, you can't fool me. I tried to run and hide, but you found me, found me. A wolf in sheep's clothing. You can only fool yourself for so long. But baby, you can't fool me. I tried to run and hide, but you found me, found me. A wolf in sheep's clothing. 'Cause I knew all about you. No, no, I knew all about you, yeah, yeah. I knew all about you, yeah, yeah. I knew all about you. I knew about you before you even knew you. I knew about you before you even knew you. No, no, I knew all about you, yeah. I knew all about you.
I Knew About You. Is that the name of it?
That is.
Excellent. By the way, really cool hat. I see we have an affinity for hats.
Yes.
Hey, listen, guys, while Brian is setting up to go to his the rest of his interview, I actually wanted to take a few minutes. We stopped by. We got our business cards. Hey, be seeing many bars and coffee houses throughout the Valley area. Hey, listen, while I was there, the gentleman that had actually printed a book, and he said, Tim, can you maybe give the lady a few words? And I said, sure. That's pretty much what we're all about here at the show is helping people progress. This book, and it's called So Great a Love. It's written by a young lady by the name of Wanda Grimes. Wanda was born a preemie. She actually has a disability where she has muscular dystrophy. I believe that's what it is. Anyway, she has gone through life. She has raised a son. She has gone to college and is now serving in many capacities in ministries throughout the Valley area. One of those is in Jailhouse Ministries. And the reason I wanted to push that is I know she's actually using the proceeds from this book to help buy a van to help her get around. So we will have the information where you can go and where you can purchase the book. Once again, So Great a Love, Wanda Grimes story, and something you definitely do not want to miss. 120-page book, so, something you can take all in one feeding. Anyway, back to Brian and the rest of our interview. He will go with Miss Jessie Wilson.
Yes, we do pimp stuff on this show. Great song, Jessie. Tell me a little bit about the writing of that.
Well, that song was written over the summer and just kind of about a past relationship, and I guess everyone can sort of relate sometimes. The main part of that song says, I knew about you before you even knew you, and it's kind of deep for me. I think it really just means that I knew who the person was before they figured out who they were. Right. So a lot of emotion and passion behind that song.
Great song, too.
It is.
Speaking of relationships, don't you have something to put out there, Tim?
Once again, guys, you have to be here before we go on broadcast. We actually have so many things we kid about. And one of them, I said, Jessie has, she loves to put herself out there on Facebook. And one of the things she put out last evening was a gentleman she sang. And, there he is right there. I told her I'm going to stick him on there.
He's so embarrassed right now.
This is Jessie's love.
I do love
him. But we're just poking at her.
What's up, Jessie's love?
Jessie's love. Hey, how you doing?
No one escapes.
Without a song about him. No, I'm just kidding.
So now that actually brings up another aspect between your teaching and your music. How does that affect third, party things like relationships?
It definitely affects it. I'm trying. The key word of my life right now is balance. I feel like as a early 20-year-old, I'm 24, it's, you're always swamped with things. Everybody is, but I'm really finding time for things that matter. Right. And he's one of them, so I try and throw him into the busy schedule that I have. But it's working out so far, so yay.
That is great. I'm glad that it's working out. I hope that it continues to work out.
Go ahead and pull the mic closer to her a little bit there. It's okay. Go ahead.
Good.
Yep.
Now, there's one question I want to ask is, how do you think, of course, we asked a question about juggling the two things back and forth, but do you feel that, say, your music and performance in front of crowds and your performance as a teacher in front of a very small crowd, do you feel that you gain something from each of those that contributes to the other?
Yes. Yeah, both are totally different, but sort of the same. I mean, I always knew that I had a gift with music, and it's just like fire to my soul getting to play in front of a crowd. Not that it's so much, oh, look at me, but it's like, it's just humbling and awesome to play and hear people, praising your talent and enjoying what you enjoy too. And I think the same with teaching. I try and get them just as involved in whatever I'm teaching or talking about, and they're my crowd, even though they're little 6 and 7 year olds, and there's 21 of them. But they, I definitely think they both feed off of each other, and they've both developed me into who I am. Right.
Yeah, it strikes me because most musicians get up on a stage in a bar, and they've been doing whatever they do all day, but you're like leaving one crowd, being in front of one crowd, to go be in front of another crowd.
Yeah.
So like some people have to gear up and psych themselves up for the crowd they're going to be in front of. But if you're coming from being in front of a crowd, it seems like it would make it easier. Yeah,
and for me, it's not like, oh, I'm about to go in front of a crowd. I'm freaking out. It like feeds me. It's what right. fuels me. So it's my relaxing time, teaching and playing in front of crowds with music. Both of them is not something that I have to really, I guess, try. It's more like therapeutic, and it's just easy and natural for me, right. I guess.
Well, that's good.
And Columbus is not your only market that you play in, is it?
Well, Actually, it has been. I started gigging regularly last year, and I've only really played in Columbus and Phoenix City, and now I'm trying to branch out and get to Auburn, Opelika, and some surrounding areas to get a new fan base, and trying to get a website up and get a banner and write some songs to lay down another album, because the only one I've ever put out was when I was 20. It's a 3-song EP. That one I told you Just in Time was on. So trying to write some new songs and get them recorded and get that music out there. And
How many songs have you written?
I've probably written 10 songs. My thing is I have pieces of different songs, and putting it all together and just saying, okay, this is one final song, here it is. That's something I struggle with because it's busy. So I get to sit down today and write a verse, and the next day I'm like, oh, well, I might try a new song or have a whole different another idea. So I would say just 10, which is totally embarrassing because I've been doing this since I was 17, and now I'm 24. But like I said, time has been a big factor in that, but now I'm trying to make time for
24.
Right. I remember those days. A long time. But the thing is it's better to have 10 good songs that you can put out there as opposed to having 100 that are mediocre. Quality is more important than quantity when it comes to music, because you want good songs, and it's way more important to have a couple of good songs than a whole bunch of poor songs, with just a couple of good ones.
And I'm kind of curious. I'll really kind of ask you both, because I know you both write. And Brian will remember this. We had a lady on the show, I guess a couple of months back. Her name is Rachel. Hi, Rachel. You better be watching.
What's up, Rachel?
R.S. Williams, you guys will know. And she's actually a writer. And she was in the middle of telling us that Evernote is a godsend, because she will sit there. Do you ever get to a point where you just think of maybe something, just a little partial of a song, and you just write it down?
Oh, yes.
So maybe on down the road, you'll pull it back, and yeah. She was commenting on it. You do the same thing?
Well, I'm terrible with like apps on my phone. Usually what I do, if I think up some lyrics, I'll just bring up the video camera on my phone and just like save them into the video camera. And then I archive everything on my computer and forget about it.
Well, we have a teacher here. She probably still has handwriting. Mine went a long time ago.
No, I do carry notebooks with me. I've got notebooks and pens I carry to work with me. So if I think of something really cool to write down, I have pen and paper always at hand.
I'll use my phone, the little notepad on my phone, and use voice memos. My phone's filled with voice memo and bits and pieces of little parts of songs.
I've another technique. I don't know if you can really call it a technique. And sometimes I'd think up songs that I wrote a lot of stuff down, but there's some stuff I didn't write down, and like months later, lyrics from a song would still be going through my head, and those are the ones that like actually turned into songs, and they're like a whole bunch of stuff I never wrote down that's just gone. But it's like sometimes a song is going to work because it haunts you for months and months, and you just have to do something with it.
Yeah, there was this one time I wrote the song called Abounding, and the chorus was just your love is abounding. And I thought when I was writing it, my intent was for God, like his love is abounding. And then come to find out months later, my grandmother passed away, and that song fit that situation. I got to sing it at her funeral. So it was this song that fit so many different parts of my life. And I feel like sometimes that happens with songwriting. Like you don't realize the meaning, or why is this lyric to mind, or coming to my mind, or why this piece of this song, but then it's revealed later, and I always think that's really cool.
It's interesting how that works out. Something will come up that seems important, and then later on it'll mean a whole lot that you never could have imagined. Where would you like to take your music? Where would you like to see yourself in 20 years when you're my age?
Keep going, you'll get to my age pretty soon.
I ask myself that all the time. Like, I've been doing this for a while, since I was 17, and it's been a journey. And I always wondering, did I just want to be famous? Why am I really doing it? And when I was younger, I didn't have a goal. And now with this past year of actually gigging regularly and kind of asking myself, what is my plan? I feel like I was walking around aimlessly with talent here and there and just doing different things, but I didn't know for myself, well, what am I really doing? And so I would say in 10 years, like, I would love to be touring, like, this whole entire nation and just sharing my songs and have developed a fan base, and I would love to like be on like a popular radio station. Like I feel like if I could just do that, I would check mark it, and I would feel content and just fulfilled by that. Like I just think that would be super awesome, just to have at least one song on a huge radio station someday.
That would be
Jessie
fantastic.
belongs. I saw a couple of months back. She went and saw one of her friends, and she was actually doing music live on Facebook, which has become pretty popular.
In Nashville.
Oh man, she belongs in Nashville. You were up there with a couple of your friends.
Yeah, I was.
And,
we were just,
took a road trip
yep.
and went elsewhere.
Some of my friends moved up there, and they're doing music, and it was just awesome to go there. It's such a diverse city. Everyone thinks it's just country, but it has such a rock side of it too, and an indie underground kind of music. But it was fun. We went up there and jammed and visited some places, and I've thought about it. But for right now, I'm here and enjoying teaching and just kind of going day by day and really pushing my music through online and YouTube and stuff like that. So
now, there was a question I was going to ask, and I cannot remember what it was. Oh yeah, what do you think? Do you reckon you're more of a solo solo singer, or do you dream of having a big band?
Well, I definitely I want to have a band, but I also have a band. Like when I was 17 till last year, I did solo acoustic, me and my guitar. I got to the point I was like, okay, I really want to like get out there, and I want a band accompanying me, and I've done that. So
Cool.
I love it. It gives it a different flair, and I don't have just one band, like just my own band, my own bassist, my own. I have 3 or 4 different fellows and ladies that fill in on each instrument. So it gives me a wide variety to get to play with different kinds of players.
Versatile, and if somebody has a gig, you've got a backup too.
Oh yeah.
I actually used to. I had a band one time that was kind of that format. Now, as Tim brings up the next commercial, I'm giving him fair warning.
He's
this
giving
time.
me fair warning this time, guys.
One important question.
I'm ready for it this time.
This is earth shattering and causes wars and fights and stuff. Elvis or the Beatles?
The Beatles.
The
all
Beatles.
the way.
Hey, girl after my own heart.
We're going to a commercial. We'll be right back, guys.
Hello, I'm Catherine Childry with Let's Vocalize. For over 35 years, I've coached vocalists and groups privately. I also perform vocal workshops training choirs. I'd love the opportunity to show you how direction, discipline, vocal health care, and regular practice can drastically improve you, your group, or your choir's performance. Call me at 706-536-6123 or visit us online at www.letsvocalize.com. I'd love to help you offer your best gift.
Yes, Toddy, the chocolate malt in a can.
It's so good hot. It's so good cold.
It hits the spot with young and old.
Yes, Toddy pleases everybody. Delicious chocolate malted toddy, made with rich, real milk, not powdered milk.
So come and get it, everybody. It's time to drink your chocolate toddy.
Delicious.
Hello and welcome back to the show. Special guest Jessie Wilson. So Jessie, this is the part of the show where we like to pimp stuff and get a little information. First of all, where can people find you?
Mostly Facebook through Jessie Wilson Music, and I'm in the midst of creating a website, which will be out, a new and improved website. So right now, Facebook is primarily where you can get in touch with me for booking, and also through my email, which is jessiedaniellewilson@gmail.com.
Cool. And your EP that you've got out.
Yes,
is that
that's on
available?
iTunes and Spotify.
So go and check that out. Now, I always ask this question of all my guests. What advice would you give to aspiring musicians, artists, teachers, people doing anything? What advice would you give?
Don't limit yourself. Be completely open to learning and growing and allowing that to influence you, and not to ever put yourself in a box.
Good advice.
Don't put yourself in that box.
Do not put yourself in
Then
the
you
box.
might get trapped. Yeah.
Don't do like me either and you got your fingers in too many pies. You got to find some middle ground there somewhere.
Yeah.
You can probably, whatchamacallit, forgot where I was going with that. Sorry, it's been a rough week, and I'm a little off kilter today. But what's your schedule? You're playing at Wild Wings?
Playing at Wild Wings coming up in a couple weeks, which that'll be posted on my Facebook as well, through Jessie Wilson Music.
Any other places?
Not right now. I'm working on booking right now, so I'm
That's cool.
talking to some venues and getting out there. Like I said, trying to get hopefully in Auburn and Opelika soon.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are from out of town that actually will not be here to get to see Jessie live, she's kind of like Brittany Avery that we had on, last week?
The week before.
A week before.
Yes.
You're right. But she loves Facebook Live. So, guys, if you go on and you find her on Facebook, and once again, that's at Jessie Wilson, more than likely you'll get a free concert.
That's right, or Instagram.
Instagram is cool. That's actually something I have been meaning to take advantage of, because being a musician myself, I was taking a note from Brittany, and she's putting her songs out there on Facebook Live, and Facebook Live is a powerful tool. We we shot the behind the scenes of the show one time, and we Facebook Lived it, and it actually got more views than the actual show did. So
I know it. That's the reason I don't Facebook Live anymore. Even though it's pretty cool that we started getting people from Hawaii and Germany and
yeah. So it's an extremely powerful tool, and one that should be taken advantage of, and Instagram as well.
Yeah.
I've done some things on that. I was stoked when I found out you could put 15 seconds of video on there. And
now it's like to a minute.
Yeah, it's like woohoo.
Oh, they increase the time on Instagram.
Yay.
So my 15-second
Wow.
movies have to be a minute movie now, which is harder.
Wow.
Well, you got anything else, Tim, before we get out of here for the day?
No, I'm probably going to sit here and go film something for Instagram.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm going to go and actually my nephew and I have a thing that we're doing. We call it Columbus Sidestep. Speaking of pimping stuff, my nephew and I,
Oh, no. He scares me sometimes, guys.
we go around and find old historic stuff, vestiges of the history of Columbus, and we do little video pieces on it, which is so check that out. None of them have aired yet.
Yeah, I was looking for my calendar. It's actually on my phone, which is on a tripod behind me, but and that's Robert. Is that correct?
Robert, yes.
Yeah,
Robert
he's going to be on, I
No-
believe, the 1st of November, somewhere around that time frame.
November 20th, I think.
Okay. All right. We have a lot of guests.
We
and,
do
and,
have a
you
lot.
know, I'm getting older, and just can't remember it, can't reach my phone. So, hey, listen, I do want to remind everyone, coming up in December, since we're reaching so far in the future, we've got our Christmas special.
That is correct.
And we're in the process now of getting everyone. As a matter of fact, Jessie was supposed to do her Christmas song, but she didn't practice it. But, well, Brian too. But we're in the process of filming everyone and getting everyone together of people that have been on over the past year, over 2016. And should be a very entertaining show. So more about that in the future.
Very cool. Well, Jessie, I really appreciate you
It's
coming on
awesome.
the show.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for coming in. And this is the show. Tim over there behind the camera. You don't see him every now and then. You do. And I'm your host, Brian Mallard.